After decades of violence, the Israeli government and the Palestinian Liberation Organization secretly met in 1992 to put an end to the conflict. The meetings gave birth to the Oslo Accords, designed to establish a partnership for negotiating borders, governance, and a path to peace. But these treaties didn't last, and many considered them to be an ultimate failure. To understand how that happened, we have to go back to the heart of the conflict. In 1947, the UN decision proposed a partition of the British-controlled Palestinian territories into a Jewish state, an Arab state, and an international city of Jerusalem. The Jewish state of Israel agreed to the terms and was created that year. But the Arab League did not want Palestine to be partitioned. They attacked Israel but were defeated. Israeli forces occupied the area that had been mandated to be the Arab state. Many Palestinians became refugees. The region has remained in conflict ever since. Creating peace between Israel and Palestine sometimes seemed impossible. Israel viewed the Palestinian leadership known as the PLO as a terrorist organization and refused to work with them. Without an agreement existing between Israel and the PLO, there was no end in sight to their decades-long violent conflict. In 1978, President Jimmy Carter finally succeeded in brokering a peace agreement between Israel and Egypt through the Camp David Accords. While establishing some peace in the Middle East, the agreement did not address the right of Palestinians to self-govern. This remained the status quo for more than 10 years. In 1992, Norway offered to serve as an intermediary between Israel and the PLO. That December, both parties met in Oslo, beginning the negotiation talks that would continue over many months. In September 1993, Israel, the PLO, the U.S., and Russia officially signed the first of the Oslo Accords, later known as Oslo I, at a ceremony in Washington, D.C. The terms of Oslo I mandated that Israel officially accept the PLO as the representatives of the Palestinians. The PLO officially renounced terrorism and recognized Israel as a country. Both sides agreed that over a 5-year period, a Palestinian Authority, or PA, would be created to govern the Palestinian territories of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Once the PA was successfully established, then more talks on the issues of borders, refugees, and Jerusalem would be held. 2 years later, in 1995, Israel and the PLO signed another agreement called Oslo II. Israeli forces agreed to withdraw from the 6 largest Palestinian cities, as well as 450 towns. The West Bank was to be divided into 3 areas, one under Palestinian control, one where Palestinians had civilian control and Israelis controlled security, and one area that would be totally controlled by Israel. Throughout the entire process of negotiating and implementing the agreements in the Oslo Accords, many people, both Palestinians and Israelis, refused to support the terms, and both sides committed acts of extreme violence. In November of 1995, an anti-Palestinian Israeli extremist assassinated Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin at a peace rally in retaliation for his support of the peace process. By September 2000, with the escalation of violent events including riots, suicide bombings, and sweeping Israeli military responses, it was clear that the Oslo Accords had failed. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict continues today. Palestinian autonomy has still not been achieved, and support for a 2-state solution has declined. World leaders continue to struggle to figure out a way to broker a new agreement between Israel and the Palestinians and their Arab neighbors.